How's it, grade 11s? We're going on to timelines, working from slides 33 to 35 from the finance PowerPoint. Okay, so when do we use timelines? Timelines are used for more complex finance questions, okay? For example, you might get a situation where you have multiple deposits or a withdrawal at some point and things like that. It also happens when we change the interest rate. Okay, so it's a lot easier to visualize it on a timeline than just trying to write that down in a formula or just writing down the information like that. So I highly recommend that you use the timelines. You will get a mark for it for more complex type of finance questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out the question. If you want to copy it down, it'll be in the PowerPoints. So our first example goes on to say, it says 8,000 worth of bonds are purchased, and 2 years later, another 14,500 worth of bonds are added to the portfolio. 5 years after the initial purchase, 6,000 worth of bonds are redeemed, in other words, taken out. What is the value of the portfolio after 6 years if it earned an average return of 7.5% per annum compounded monthly? So what I've done here is I've just drawn up a little timeline for 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the sixth one is what they're asking. What is it worth after 6 years? So this can be our T0, our initial time. Okay. Then we've got T1 for our first year, T2 for second, T3 for third, fourth, fifth, and our 6th year. Okay. So initially, 8,000 Rand of bonds is purchased. So right over here, we've got 8,000 Rand of bonds is bought. Okay. It goes on to say 2 years later. So here's our second year. Another 14,500 Rand worth of bonds is added to this portfolio. Then it goes on to say 5 years after the initial purchase. So here's our 5 years. 6,000 Rand is redeemed. So this person took out 6,000, and I'm making it a minus because you're taking it out. Okay. Then what is the value of the portfolio at the end of the 6 years? Now, another thing I want to note is throughout this whole scenario here, our interest rate is 7.5% per annum, compounded monthly. Okay. Right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at how we're going to sort this out. Now, so any sort of investment, grade 11s, is compound interest. So we've got A is equal to P, 1 plus I to the power of N. Okay. And what we want to do is we want to find out what is this portfolio worth at the end of the 6 years. So that's what we're going to find out is our A. Now, as you can see, we've got multiple things going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join them all together. But I'm going to focus on them individually. So I'm going to look at this 8,000. So our 8,000 is our principal, 8,000. 1 plus. Now, our interest rate is going to be, we have to divide that by 100. Okay, so you'll get 7.5 divided by 100. Okay, and then we get that 0.075. But because it's compounded monthly, I must divide this by 12. Okay, that's important. Now, let's have a look how many years this 8,000 is going for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 6 times 12. And I'm putting that 12 there because it's compounded monthly. So you remember with your N, you multiply it by whatever your compound period is. And your I, you divide by what your compound period is. All right, so there we've sorted out the 8,000. Now I'm going to work with the 14,500. So again, our 14,500 is our principal. 14,500. 1 plus, and now our interest is going to be exactly the same as this one. 0,075 all over 12. Now, our N is going to be different. We are going for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So it's 4 times 12 because our compound period is monthly. Just going to go on to the next line here. Now, over here, they've taken out 6,000 Rand. So it's minus. It's not an add because we're not adding into the portfolio. We're taking out. So minus 6,000. 1 plus. Now, just remember that this 6,000 would have got interest for that time period there. Just that one little time period. So it would have got interest. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to take out the 6,000 plus the interest that it would have earned. So our interest rate is exactly the same, 0,075 over 12. And it is for 1 year. So 1 times 12. Okay. So you see how I've broken it down for the individual things. Now what I can do is I can just plug all of this on the calculator. So this might just take some time, guys, while I get the answer. So 8,000. 1 plus 0.075 for 12 to the power of 72, which is 6 times 12, plus 14,500. 1 plus 0.075 over 12 to the power of 48 minus 6,000. 1 plus 0.075 over 12 to the power of 12. So our final answer is 25,617 Rand. And because it's money, I'm going to round off to 2 decimal places and 83 cents. So at the end of 6 years, that is what the portfolio is worth. All right, going on to example 2. Okay, so I'm going to read it out. Again, you can follow in the PowerPoints. So it's saying Lauren needs 50,000 Rand as a deposit for her wedding in 3 years' time. She makes 3 equal annual payments into a savings account at the beginning of each year, starting immediately. Calculate the annual deposit required to meet her goal if the account earns 8.4% compounded daily. Okay, so let's see how we're going to sort this out. So we call this T0, T1, T2, and T3. Okay, so initially, well, what we want to work out is how much she needs to deposit. Okay, so she needs to make up 50,000 Rand. So she starts immediately with some amount, and they are equal payments. So she makes a payment immediately, then the next year, and then the next year. Over here is when she needs that money. So I'm just going to make a note over here that she needs 50,000 Rand at the end of all of this. Okay. Throughout this whole time period, our interest rate is 8.4% per annum, and this is compounded daily. All right. So again, it is an investment type of thing because you're saving up money. So we are going to be using the compound formula. A is equal to P, 1 plus I to the N. Now, our accumulated amount is this 50,000. That's what she wants at the end of all of this. So 50,000, 1, 2, 3, equals. Now what I'm going to do is exactly the same as that previous example. I'm going to focus individually on each one of these things. Okay, so our principal amount here is X, so that's our P, X, 1 plus. Now our interest rate is going to be, to convert that into a decimal, it's 8.4 divided by 100, and we get that 0.0884, okay? And it's compounded daily, so I need to divide that by 365. Okay. Now, how long is this little one going on for? It's going on for 1, 2, 3 little bits. So it's 3 times 365. Okay. Because it's compounded daily. The next one I'm going to focus on, I'm just going to put it on the next line, plus is this one over here. So x1 plus my interest rate will still be the same, 0,084 over 365. And how long does this one go on for? 1, 2. So that's 2 times 365. The next one I'm going to focus on is this one over here. So plus x, it's the same interest rate, 1 plus 0,084 over 365. And how long is this one going on for? It's going on for 1 time period. So that's 1 times 365. All right. So what I'm going to do now, grade 11s, is you can see that each one of these has an x. I'm going to take it out as a common factor. So we have here 50,000 is equal to x. And we have this one here, which is 1 plus 0,084 over 365. Now, 3 times 365 is 1095. Plus this one over here, 1 plus 0,084 over 365. And then 2 times 365 is 730. Okay, I'm just going to go into the next line for this one. Plus 1 plus 0,084 over 365. And 1 times 365 is 365. All right, so what I'm going to do now, grade 11s, is I'm going to work out what this is in my calculator. And I'm going to say 50,000 divided by that. So let's have a look, see how we're going to do that. Okay, so let's do this first one. 1 plus 0.084 over 365 to the power of 1095. Plus the next one, 1 plus 0.084 over 365 to the power of 730 plus 1 plus 0.084 over 365 to the power of 365. Okay, and then we get this answer over here. Now that's going to be over here, and it's x times this number. So to get x on its own, I'm going to divide by that thing. So I'm going to say 50,000 divided by ounce. And we get x is equal to 14,056 Rand and 43 cents. All right. So grade 11s, what I would like you to do is exercise 12.3, numbers 2, 3, 6, 7, and 9 for me, please. Thank you.